Wednesday FT, we're excited for it. Happy New Year to those that celebrate. I'm going to soak it up, Kratz. I've got 2 days left.
That's fair. Do it.
Really only one. Really
Smoke them if you got them.
With you, right? That's true.
Only one.
I might say it on Friday and just yell it out there and hope that like your ear like.
I'm on Friday. What are you talking about?
Oh, right. So I have 2 days. You said Friday's the last day.
I'm not on tomorrow.
Oh, so right. Tomorrow maybe I'll skip it, and then Friday I'm going to shout it amongst everyone that can hear
So
me.
why don't you just wait till like June to yell Happy New Year?
Well, no, I'm playing by your rules. You told me.
No, I know, but like if you don't want to play by the
say.
rules, then you can say it in June. We
I'm
have
a
this
rule
argument
follower.
every year, and I'm tired of you not listening to the rules, Scott.
You always say that I follow the rules better than everyone, so I'm trying to follow
you follow
the rules.
You follow producer lady's rules, not mine.
Yeah, I don't follow most rules. That's why I'm here. Anyway, we do have somewhat breaking news at the top of the show, so I do want to jump to that pretty quickly. It's going to make some of our Cubs fans that consume the show every day feel a little bit better. So let's get to that.
He's charging the mound.
We've got multiple insiders reporting on how the Cubs are close to acquiring Edward Cabrera from the Miami Marlins. Michael Cerami, who covers the Cubs, was first on the scene. Ken says source confirming that it is close. Edward Cabrera is one of the better starters stuff-wise available on the trade market. We had seen the report the other day that the Yankees were hot on the Marlins to try and get Cabrera, but it looks like the Cubs are going to end up on top. They've got plenty of prospect capital too. Time to use it.
Yeah. If you think this puts you over the top, I still think they need bats somewhere.
Sure, but they needed another
They
starter
did,
with
but
good
their
stuff.
starting rotation is pretty solid right now.
No, I disagree.
Justin Steele comes back.
When he comes back. That's
When he
Shota,
comes back.
Matthew Boyd,
yeah,
Ion,
it's good.
and Cade Horton. That's 5 pretty good ones.
They needed this though.
Okay.
To
For
help
who? Whose
solidify
spot
it.
does he take?
Well, Steele's not starting right now. I mean, he's not back until halfway through the year,
I don't know.
if not more. So right now, I think it's pretty easy. It's Boyd, Horton, Imanaga, Edward Cabrera, Jamison Tyone, Colin Ray, swingman.
Okay.
Or they're going to a 6-man rotation like everybody else that has a Japanese starter, and maybe they feel like that's part of Imanaga's, hey, if we can move him to a 6-man rotation, maybe we can eliminate some of those home runs. But I don't care where he slots in the rotation. He slots in one of those playoff starts. I get it. If Justin Steele is Justin Steele come playoffs, yeah, I mean, he's going to pitch over Edward Cabrera. But right now, last postseason, he's starting one of those playoff games, which I'm pretty sure they had an opener for one of the playoff games. But
Multiple.
Yeah.
Multiple
They had to
openers.
use Boyd on short rest in the DS.
Dude, they had to use Boyd on short rest, and then I'll pull up in the next few seconds who
Game
the
5.
starters were for the
They were
games.
scared to use Shota. They didn't want to use Shota. They didn't want to use Colin Ray, though he pitched really well for him. I mean, they were like, we don't want to. It's like they don't want to pitch those guys. But my question is with Edward Cabrera, how many times he's pitched over 100 innings in his career?
Once?
Once. That was last year. One time he's thrown over 100 innings in his career.
The Dodgers would love him.
100. He threw 137 innings last year. Before that, his career high was 99. So he's thrown over 100 innings one time.
He's a kid.
He's a kid. He's 28 years old.
Yeah,
He ain't a kid.
I'm not defending this. This is why he's
No, I mean,
not a
for the
star.
Cubs, listen, this move makes sense because they need this move and they can, we'll find out who the pieces are they're giving up. But to me, he's not an ace to me, right? So he's not a front of the rotation guy.
But
You're
he's a
not counting him.
playoff starter.
Okay. They got to get there. And if their offense right now, unless things without Tucker and PCA doesn't become the PCA of the first half and he's the PCA of the second half next year, I mean, they got some holes in that. Are we counting on Carson Kelly to have the career year he had last year? I don't know. I mean, I just think I like this trade for the Cubs, but I think somewhere along the line they need some offense.
I think this was the top need. I agree. I mean,
Okay.
it sounds like they're in the running for Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, maybe someone else that we're
I
not
love how
thinking
that's been the
about.
Cubs' number one need. How are they confused? I'll tell you how I'm confused. because they have a
Don't
rotation.
ruin this for Mike.
Mike G. Yeah, well, the Cubs
Mike G,
ruin your
celebrate
life
it.
every year, so
It's
get
a
used
good
to it.
pickup.
It is a good pickup.
Do you know who
Good pickup.
started Game 5?
They needed another starting pitcher, especially if your only starting pitchers that make your starts are Matthew Boyd, who's maybe he's had a history of not making all his starts in his career. Imanaga spent some time on the IL. This was a definite need, even though the other day I said they also need somebody to replace Tucker, which is tough to replace. And I think so. I agree with AJ that they need a piece in the position player realm. I'm not sure exactly where, but they need a bat. They need a bat. There's an offense that was good last year with Kyle Tucker. They were really good at some points, but I think this addition is great because I don't think they need him to throw 32 innings because he hasn't so far in his career. I mean, 32 starts, not 32 innings.
Do you know who started Game 5, the last game of the season for the Cubs in the NLDS?
Well, it wasn't sure. Well, what killed him was Horton getting hurt at the end.
Sure.
Cade Horton. If they would have had him, it completely changes everything. Who
He's
started
joining
Game
us
5?
on today's
It wasn't
show.
Shota because it was scheduled to be Shota and they didn't start.
Drew Pomeranz.
Drew Pomeranz was the starter for Game 5.
I was like, it was supposed to be Shota, but they didn't start him.
Your season on the line.
And he's coming on
This
today.
has nothing to do with Drew. We love you, Drew.
He's coming on
We're
today.
excited for you. We're going to talk to you later. It's just that it's cool to have a big-time starter who can give you length go in the game that decides your season, and that's why.
But this is what teams have done forever now. And
I know, but not in.
They don't care.
5,
They're like, we'll match up. We'll use an opener because it matches up in the first inning better than just letting our starter go out there. Because the starter's going to be out in 3 innings. Because every manager now goes, I can't have my starter go through the lineup twice because God forbid he's pitching well.
Had that go in the World Series, we had teams that could throw starters up there.
And that's why it was a great World
That's
Series.
why they met up, and that's why it was a great World Series. So the point here is next time the Cubs get to a do-or-die playoff game, they will have options and not have to go bullpen game. They can use their Drew Pomeranz later in the game and leverage versus having to use him to start the game. So I think that's the big point here. Cade Horton's sophomore season coming off injury. Edward Cabrera has not been durable, but stuff-wise, he will start a playoff game for you if he looks like he did in 2025. Justin Steele hopefully comes back and feels good. We'll see. I mean, the trust factor for Imanaga, he's certainly being paid this coming season like he should start playoff games for the Cubs, but are you getting the 24 edition? Are you getting the 25 edition? This makes things much more interesting for their rotation, and it makes them much more competitive in the division, right? Do you feel as if the Cubs have more of a shot to take down the Brewers in the division?
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't all durability with Edward Cabrera. Some of it was, you remember, it wasn't last year, I think it was the year before, where they started to manipulate a little bit of time in the big leagues with some of their pitchers. Like Yuri Perez, they were like, well, we don't want him to get too many innings, but then they sent him down to AAA and he was pitching in AAA. They were doing that with Cabrera, Meyer, Yuri Perez. So some of it wasn't just durability. Some of it was he had a 5 ERA. He was right at a 5 ERA. So this is a guy, yes, he's 28 years old, 27 years old last year. He's still making adjustments in the big leagues. I think that's maybe the Cubs. We don't know who they're giving back, but I think the Cubs are hoping this past year was what he is and not what he was the previous years.
Well, I think there's also a case of the Marlins trying to sell high.
That's very true. I mean,
I think the Marlins are trying to sell high after his best year by far. They're like, hey, we can get some stuff. And we all know Peter Bendick's ain't keeping nobody. And they want no payroll. So he's like, hey, we can get some prospects that might turn into something. We'll do this and save some money along the way.
Sometimes guys make adjustments and they stick. Sometimes guys make adjustments and the league adjusts back. I mean, Edward Cabrera has been a touted prospect and young player, and this was when it really came together for him. And yes, a career high 137 and 2/3 innings, but the command was much better this year. And he did make a lot of changes. Like I'm going through the changes, dropped his arm slot, ditched his slider for his curveball. I mentioned how the command got better. The power changeup got better for him too. Best velo in his career on it. The downside is twice on the IL this year. He had a blister and then a sprained right elbow. And from 2021 to 2024, he had 7 trips on the injured list, 3 times with a shoulder impingement. So it's not the perfect player, but if you see the top here on the StatCast page, in terms of results, he was getting results this year. And obviously, yeah, he ranks pretty well in velo, chase percentage, whiff percentage, strikeout percentage, even walk percentage, which was big for him. So not the perfect player, but postseason starter. So this is big for the Cubs. And it doesn't cost much. So if the Cubs are trying to actually do some damage and take those alligator arms and try and get some money out, like they're still okay, because Edward Cabrera is projected to make $3.7 million in arbitration for 2026. It's going to cost $3-4 million this year.
He's got 3 years.
A number 3 starter.
Yeah, he's got 3 years of control left.
And he's got 3 years of control. That's why he was highly coveted by teams like the Cubs, the Yankees, and many others.
Yeah, makes sense. Again, good job by the Marlins. We don't know what they got back, but this was a sell high.
And the Marlins feel like they have enough starting pitching depth. If you're a Marlins fan, you're obviously like, when does it end?
Never.
This guy had years left. When does it end?
Never.
Just look north. Just look north. I mean, I have a hard time believing Peter Bendix isn't going to run it exactly like the Rays. You get in that 4 years of service range, which Cabrera is just a little bit under that. We're going to start fishing. We're going to start throwing you out in the water, see what kind of bait, see what kind of fish we can snag with what you're doing. And this is a perfect example. Kind of sped up his window to be traded, especially since Alcantara didn't have a season and didn't get traded. He's like, all right, well, it's time to trade somebody. We have value here. So it's just look at the Rays. Look north to the Rays. That's how they're going to run it.
Yeah. And for Sandy, he's likely going to head into the season pitching for the Marlins and then get traded at the deadline. I know we said that this past year.
He has 1 more year or 2 more years?
I got to look.
I thought it was 2.
The problem with Sandy, I think he might have an option on that second one. So he's making $17 million. He just made $17 million 25, $17 million 26, a $21 million club option for 2027. That's not a guarantee. We need to see him pitch well for a full year. It's likely, right?
Okay,
it's
but if
likely.
Sandy Alcantara,
so 2 years,
who
most
takes
likely.
the ball, he just had Tommy John. So they usually say 4 to 5 years after you have your first one, whatever. So that's 2 more years. That'll be his 3rd year back. If he takes the ball every fifth day.
But that's why
But are you telling me that Sandy Alcantara 2 years from now, I mean, depending on what happens with the CBA, won't be worth $21 million? Making 30 starts.
No, he should. So
I can't imagine that not being picked up. So
it's 2 years, close to 40 mil.
That's nothing
left.
though for a quality starting pitcher.
But he's not going to get traded to the deadline because his value is being
it has to be built back up because he was great. Then he got hurt. He wasn't great early, but at the second half, he was pretty good last year.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of was back to the old Sandy. So the key is just if he gets off to a good start, the Marlins would be like, Peter Bendix would be sitting there going, man, I can't wait to trade this guy.
This is going to be great. I'm going to get so many prospects.
Surplus
value. What did that other thing say? They got blocked for a sec. Marlins are about to get a revamp to their lineup. Maybe, depending on who's in there, probably young position players. Some of the MLB teams have turned into nothing more than an extended farm system for the winning teams.
Well,
somewhat accurate.
That's kind of always been the case, though.
Somewhat accurate. Well, that's what pisses people off, though. They're like, why is that always the case? Well,
because teams don't want to spend money.
Yeah. If they lose Casey and Ballesteros needs more time, I hope the Cubs find a bat with the money they save from Edward. Yeah.
Well, Ballesteros, here's the thing about Ballesteros. He supposedly can hit. He's not going to catch because they've already said he's just basically a DH at like 22.
For sure? He can't
Pretty
catch?
much. They've
Not even as a backup catcher?
I mean, he's a backup catcher like Wilson Contreras. I mean, they didn't want him to catch, clearly, last year.
Dude can hit.
He can hit, but
full-time DH at 22 is a tough ask. I think that they're going to try and develop him more as a catcher. No?
Here's the issue. If your bat is ahead of you as a backup catcher at 22 years old, they want you to hit. They're going to get 2 to 3 years of value out of your bat before you take enough if the defense is suspect behind the dish, you have to improve that somehow. You ain't improving that riding the pine. Believe me, that's why older guys, failed starters, become backups. It's not a case where they have that stud starter, and then they're like, oh, you're gonna get, you're just gonna fill in here. No, like Ballesteros, to me, if the Marlins want him, appreciate you. Good player, needs to be in the big leagues because he can hit, because he doesn't need to be in AAA hitting, but catching isn't there yet. It's just not there yet. He's got to move around differently.
I bet you
I just Googled him, and this is the AI overview, okay? Boises Ballesteros is considered a very good prospect, primarily for his advanced hitting ability, but his long-term defensive role as a catcher is a major question mark, potentially shifting him to first base or designated hitter due to well below average speed and defense. He's a top Cubs prospect with a strong bat, excellent plate discipline, and power, but conditioning and defense are key concerns.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, AI.
You can improve. You can improve.
You can improve.
No, I'm just saying.
Also, you guys are saying
improve,
this,
but
he might not be. I mean, I don't know if he's.
They also have
Amaya. Yeah,
and they have Carson Kelly, right? So they already have two guys that they're going to use to catch.
Yeah, and nobody that I know of coming through the pipe besides Ballesteros right now.
No, Ballesteros is going to be their DH most of the time or play first. He's not catching. I mean, he might catch a game here and there.
And that's to me, I think they get tons of value with Seiya at the DH role and somebody upgrading his defense. That's, to me, Suzuki's kept making strides since he's been in the big leagues. Coming over from Japan, second half, he cratered. I get it, but I thought he should have been an all-star last year, and I think their lineup needs an upgrade, and I think it's easiest to upgrade at Seiya's position and move Seiya to DH.
Okay. I'm going to make a prediction on who's involved. Most people are going to see this, and by the time they watch this, maybe we'll know who's involved, but Kevin Alcantara, Jackson Wiggins, two of their top 10 prospects. At least one of them, I think, will be in here. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
I have my reasons.
I think it's interesting because we heard the Yankees tied to Cabrera. And to me, if the Yankees had picked him up, they still would have needed to do more. I think with the Cubs and what AJ was saying, they got 5 guys. I think with the Cubs, this is it. And so I think it's one of those moves that's like different. If the Yankees pick him up, they still got to make another move because of their big 3 that are going to be out at the beginning of the year. To me, the Cubs, hey, you know what? We're done. I think they're done in their pitching department, and you got to be happy if you're a Cub fan. Starting pitching, locked in. You got 6 guys that can start games for you. You spent a lot of money on your bullpen. Now just a little bit to the lineup.
Yeah, they did. Maton, Hunter Harvey, Caleb Thielbar, Holby Milner. They remodeled the bullpen pretty well. And yes, last piece of the puzzle here is figuring out where they can upgrade the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. TBD. And actually, on that note, we can talk about a player who is hot in rumors in a moment here. Northside Territory, by the way, will be all over this story. Sahadev Sharma and Patrick Mooney are already writing up a storm for The Athletic, and then I'm sure they will record a podcast or a digital show if you're watching on YouTube. Go give that a look and a listen. They are going to give you the inside word on what's happening there. And we'll let you know when we find out what the return package looks like. Sounds like it's not completely done. Maybe there's phone calls still being made. It's probably like some prospects on vacation and they can't reach him or something like that. Anyway, let's move on to other free agents. Hit it.
La 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 la.
Where will Bo go? Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon posted an article this morning, what we're hearing around MLB. That included the Cubs in the mix for Alex Bregman and Bo Bichette. They also spoke about how one of those players can move Matt Shaw to a utility role, or Matt Shaw can move to second base and they trade Nico Horner, who is scheduled to make $12 million this year and then be a free agent. Where will Bo go? Oh, this is a key point.
Not Toronto.
This is a key point.
Not Toronto.
Ken said this yesterday
According
on the
to
show,
Ken.
and he wrote it again in this article. It seems like the attention for the Blue Jays has shifted to Kyle Tucker and away from Bo Bichette.
No, not Toronto. So does he fit the Cubs? He doesn't fit the Cubs for me.
Bo?
No.
Why?
Because you have Dansby, you have Matt Shaw, you have Bush at first, and you have Nico Horner.
Well, there's two places he can fit. Number one, he can fit at second if they trade Nico Horner.
Yeah.
Although, why are you trading Nico
That's
Horner?
what I'm saying. He was one of their best
Good.
players last year at the end.
Okay. Number two, he can fit at third base, and then they have Shaw as a utility, and they say, screw your development.
No, I don't think they're
You're
doing
riding
that.
the pine,
I don't
kiddo.
think they're doing that. He doesn't fit for me in Chicago.
Okay, so then where does he fit?
I don't know. That's my biggest.
Boston.
That's one of my biggest. At second base?
Yeah. Bregman to the Diamondbacks, Bo to the Red Sox at second base.
Who plays third for the Red Sox? Marcelo Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, well, why not do Bregman, who we know is a known commodity there, and Meyer at second?
They made an aggressive offer, and Jen McCaffrey, who writes for The Athletic, also confirmed this. Like, they feel like they've got a really nice offer on the table for Alex Bregman, and they're like, do you like us? Do you want to dance? What's happening?
I don't know. That's the question. Does Bo fit? And maybe in Detroit.
Definitely fits, but is
Where?
Detroit spending like that?
I don't know.
I don't
This
think
is
so.
one of the major questions for me is as we keep getting. This is always what happens with these free agents. You always are like, all right, where does he fit? Where does he fit? Where does he fit? Now Bregman last year there was obvious places: Chicago, Detroit, Boston. He picked Boston, right? But when I look at Bo and you start breaking it, if he's not going to be a shortstop, okay. Here's the big problem with Bo. And Bo is an unbelievable hitter. He's been a great player, but his shortstop value has not very good because people don't value his defense. True or false?
We talked about this, I think, on a show that you weren't on.
True,
Yes.
true or false?
He is looked at as a second baseman by most of baseball right now.
Okay, you know who doesn't get paid a ton of money?
Second baseman.
Second base.
We actually did a math exercise on this that the league is probably saying you're worth $5+ million less per year
by being a second baseman.
by being a second baseman.
Exactly. So he's still going after like he's going to be a shortstop. Teams pay shortstops. Correa, Swanson, right? Guys that can play the shortstop position. What would have been a really nice fit for him is Atlanta, but they went out and got Kim.
Right.
Right. So they covered themselves there. That would have been a
But
really
they might
nice
not
spot.
have looked at him as a shortstop, and they needed
That's
a
the
shortstop.
thing. But his agency is saying, I'm a shortstop. I need to get paid like a shortstop. But teams are going, well, you're going to play second for us. We're going to pay you like a second baseman. That's where where does he fit and where will Bo go is interesting because what is he?
I mean, he's 27. He'll be 28 by spring training range, but he'll get a longer-term deal and maybe get a little less average annual value than.
I mean, if you start running through the teams, okay, like
He
run
fits
through a
on
lot of the
teams.
teams though. The teams you would think would pay for him. Yankees.
Well, they clearly don't buy him as a shortstop anyway, and they're Volpe ride or die. That's been their
Okay.
thing for a long time.
Red Sox. Trevor Story's a shortstop.
Well, and also just going back to the Yankees, right now they have Jazz Chisholm. They could trade Jazz and then sign Bo if they really like him. But again, are you getting better? No, you're just covering yourself for
That's
the
kind of-
future.
This is
'Cause
where
Jazz is going to be a free agent.
this
after
is where
this
you
year.
need, like, as we always hear about the mystery teams, like a Washington Nationals. This is where you needed like Tom Lerner to be like, oh man, I really love Bo Bichette. Paul Taboni, go sign him. Oh wait, no, we're not doing that anymore because we're now a small market team, right? And Orioles, well, they have Jackson Holiday and Adley Rutschman. They're not signing them.
I don't think Bo's doing anything until Bregman makes his decision, because after that,
Then it opens up some clearer paths.
it could, if Bregman doesn't
Wait,
sign
does
with
Bo
Boston.
have Boris too?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, man, do you think Boris is sitting there going, well,
Did you hear what Boris said at the press conference for Okamoto when they asked why free agency has been so slow? He basically said it was Ross Atkins' fault. And there actually is, it wasn't just a joke. I mean, it was, but in my mind, it's like, wait, the Blue Jays have been talking to Kyle Tucker. Everyone's waiting for that. Once that slots in, Bo's gone, right? And it starts to lay things out a little bit more. No?
Yeah. But if
I
a
thought it was
team
kinda
really
funny.
wants Kyle Tucker or Bo Bichette, they just go make him a big offer and he's gone.
That's a whole.
I mean, okay. I mean, we'll look at we'll use the Mets. They have a second baseman. They have a shortstop. They're out. They just traded for Simeon. They have Lindor. He's not going there.
Right.
Okay. So then you start looking at the team. Phillies, no. I mean, Phillies maybe, but they're not going to spend that. They need JT back.
Phillies could make that move.
They could, but they're going to have to clear some money. They're going to have to trade Bohm. They're going to have to probably trade Bryson Stott. And then they got to find a third baseman
Trade
and a
Bohm
second
and
baseman.
put Bo at third.
He doesn't.
He's got a good arm.
He doesn't
More about
profile
the
as a
range
third
than
baseman.
the arm, no?
He doesn't profile. Does he, Kratz? He doesn't profile as a third baseman.
I don't know. That's tough to say. I have a hard time believing you're going to pay money that he wants and say stick you at a corner. I don't think that's. To me, I don't think that's happening. Stott solidified himself as a really good second baseman, up and down offense, mostly down recently, but no, not Bo to the Royals. Here's my sleeper team for you. The Angels. Some reason the Angels always come up with some money, and they're like, I'd take a player. He seems like a cool player. I remember his dad played. Angels.
Yeah.
If you want a sleeper team, he needs somebody. He needs somebody like
team.
Bregman has with the Cubs. He needs somebody to say, Cubs could be interested.
Diamondbacks
Just so that the
Bregman.
Red Sox pay more. I don't think the Cubs are at all interested.
The Diamondbacks are that team for Bregman.
But
They're
they got to
more of
trade
that.
Ketel Marte first.
No, they don't. They could have both.
No.
Stop.
Doesn't happen.
When are we gonna stop?
I mean, if the
with the
Diamondbacks trade
Diamondbacks?
Ketel Marte, then Bo Bichette can go to the Diamondbacks.
Correct.
Like, we can play this all day. What did Mike Tomlin say?
You know I don't know.
It's a line I always use, and you guys get mad at me. If my aunt had, she'd be my.
No.
Butts?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My thing is the Diamondbacks can't just because they signed Corbin Burns because he lives there and had twins. Not every player that lives in Arizona is possibly going to the Diamondbacks. Like, it's a
Bregman wants
cool
to go where he has
story.
a chance to win. Like, Bregman wants to go to a place like Boston where he has a chance to win. Listen, no offense to the Diamondbacks. They're not exactly in that division.
They were in the World Series a few years ago.
Okay, again.
Similar roster.
Right now, though.
They're a good team.
Similar roster?
No.
What's the difference?
They had an ace in Zach Gallen, who is not back.
Merrill Kelly, they brought back.
They're taking flyers on starting pitchers, and their bullpen was good. They're all coming back from injuries, and they're hoping that they do as well as they did before. To me, if you want to go to the Diamondbacks, if he goes to the Diamondbacks, I'm like, yeah, awesome. I'm taking the over all year on the Diamondbacks because there's going to be a lot of runs scored. They have a lot of really electric players. They keep Marte. They have Corbin Carroll. Perdomo took a giant leap forward last year. Awesome. You got to keep some runs off the board.
Is it true?
I love the Diamondbacks.
Where's that Gallen go?
To a team that's going to give him 3 years and an opt-out after one.
Okay.
Yankees.
I would love him in New York. He pitches different in New York.
He's from
local
Whenever
guy.
he pitches against the Yankees or the Mets, he looks different. I agree. I don't usually care about the local story, but his numbers are so much better when he's pitching against the Mets and the Yankees that it would just be fun from a fan perspective. But anyway, so that's the latest with those two. I also want to tie in another part of Ken's column. Oh, actually, I guess we're going to do it in a different segment, the luxury tax kind of situation. So let me get to Brendan Donovan here and how the second base market fills out, right? So you guys talked about Ketel Marte. It sounds like the Diamondbacks are going to make a decision one way or another. But in the notes column with Ken and Will Salmon, they spoke about how it's been difficult for the Cardinals to pull off a trade to send out Brendan Donovan. Not because he's a bad player. He's a very good player. But it seems as if the Cardinals are asking for a star return. And most teams are like, he's solid. He's good. Stop asking for star return. 2 years of Donovan. What also holds it up is that GMs are frightened that they're going to acquire 2 years of a player that's really one and change if there's a lockout. And you can say that for almost anybody that's on multiple years. But he did put that in the article, the second season of which is threatened by a lockout. In the article, they mentioned the Royals among the teams interested, and if the Cardinals prefer premium young bats, the Mariners are perhaps the best fit. And we've heard the Mariners linked to Donovan for a while, linked to Marte and to Donovan to see if they can acquire one of those second basemen, which would be a huge upgrade for Seattle. I know they've got some young guys they want to make room for, but man, if the Mariners bring in Brendan Donovan or Ketel Marte, I know Ketel is another level offensively, but either one would be, huge. I think, huge for their offense.
Do it.
Okay. I agree. But Brendan Donovan, if they're looking to trade Brendan Donovan and they're like, hey, we want this, like teams that are going to go for him are not going to have him hitting in the meat of their order. He's going to be an awesome complementary piece. If he goes to the Mariners, how much are you trading for a guy that's going to hit 5th or 6th in your lineup?
I wasn't listening. I was too busy reading the chat.
Ask it again.
Ask it again. I'm sorry.
How much are you trading for a guy that's going to hit 5th or 6th in your lineup? It's nothing against Brendan Donovan. It's more
you're not trading a ton. You're not trading a ton.
Right.
He's a good player, but he's not a needle mover player. Because if he was, the Cardinals wouldn't be one to trade him.
Exactly. And he would be a guy to be locked up. He would be a guy, hey, you know what? You just had your first all-star season. His best year, value-wise, was his rookie year. There is a bidding war, and then somebody finally hits the yes button on Ketel Marte, because then the other team's like, dang it, we really needed that upgrade. Okay, Brendan Donovan's going to upgrade a lot of teams at second base. But I think if Ketel Marte had gone off the market and he was that guy and you saw what that value is, then you could have been like, okay, 2 years of Brendan Donovan. And the whole, like, if people are fearful of the lockout season, not trading a guy or anything, either everybody would be trading everybody or nobody would trade. I don't think that's because that's not just a Brendan Donovan thing. That's not hurting his value.
Great.
We have front offices that overthink everything. So that's what's going to happen here. What if we trade for him and we only get the 1 year of value or 1.5 years of value? God, who cares? They care.
That's a reason. You're coming up with a reason to not trade for a guy. My thing is, you got to look at each team. How does he upgrade that team? What do the Mariners do? And I know they love their young prospect that's probably going to play second base. What do the Mariners need to eliminate that they do all the time? Strikeout. Brendan Donovan would be like a breath of fresh air in that lineup. He puts together great at bats. He gets on base. So to me, maybe the Mariners do slot him in earlier in the lineup, and so the value is more for them. And I think it puts them over the top as far as, a team that their pitching stays healthy. They've shown what they did last year. But to me, other teams, like, you have to slot him in somewhere. Could he play second base for the Dodgers? Is Tommy Edman going to go back out to the outfield? I don't know. There's value there. He would be an upgrade for a lot of teams, but it's a matter of what you want to give for him.
Teams are really tough with trades, both sides.
Yeah, because they want too much value.
Yeah, doesn't it feel just so painful to try and get trades done? Like, it used to be a guy is on the trade block, and
because
then
they overvalue prospects.
Everyone I think everybody overvalues everything. But you're right. They probably the prospect side is whatever.
Because they have these formulas that say so and so prospect is worth $9 billion, and he'll play 3 games in the big leagues, and they're like, "Oh, we messed up on that one. We should have traded that guy."
This is actually the simple reason. Playing off what you're saying, if you just talk to someone and say, "Don't say a single number. What's the reason?" They'll go, "We're frightened. We're going to trade that one guy away. Yeah. We're frightened that we're going to trade Pete Crow Armstrong for Javi Baez."
No, you're afraid you're going to trade Fernando Tatis for James Shield.
Either one, yeah. And they go, look how much surplus value we're getting out of Pete Crow Armstrong for his first few years, where he's making $700K, and this past season he was probably worth 30 mil or whatever, right? They're frightened of giving that person away. That's what it is. That's why the trade market gets really, really tricky.
Does he improve your team? That's what you have to ask. Does he improve your team?
He makes them much better. Yes.
I promise whoever they're getting rid of does not improve your team this year. If you're the Mariners, Cal Raleigh is getting a year older. All your pitchers are getting more expensive in arbitration. It's okay to say our window is this next 2 years. You're not going to fall off a cliff those next 2 years. Like, there's other things you can do. Does he improve your team enough to say the Mariners are playing against the Dodgers in the World Series instead of the Blue Jays?
Yeah, because the Mariners, I mean, what? They're deciding games. Sometimes you're watching them and you're like, damn, can anybody get on base? Brendan Donovan can. For me, I actually am more against you guys on this argument. Is he a superstar? No. Is he an all-star? I think he's an all-star caliber player. I do. All-star utility player for me. Because it's not just second base. He can play second base best, but he can also bounce around for you. I think he's an all-star player. And if teams are trying to play tough with the Cardinals, then they're like, okay, screw you. We'll keep him for now. That's me. I'm on the high side on Donovan. I'm a big fan. So,
okay. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can be a high side on Donovan and really like him. Like I think AJ and I do, but personally I'm gonna say myself, I don't think he's an all-star player. If he's not on the Cardinals last year, is he an all-star? Does he make the all-star team?
For me, he's an all-star caliber player. That's me. We disagree on that one. You guys, I think, have him like one notch below what I do, right? If superstar is 8 to 10, I've got him at 7, where the all-star range is 6 to 7 or something, and you guys might have him at 5. Whatever. I'm just making numbers up. You know what I mean? One notch below
forever an all-star
is what you guys have him at.
Listen, he's a good player.
Yeah. So pay up if you want him. That's the goal here. There's not much.
But teams are going to. They always.
The Mariners
they look for their weaknesses.
Right, but the Mariners aren't signing Bo Bichette. They're not paying for Bo Bichette.
Could,
but they won't. We know them. They're not paying for Bo Bichette.
He fit nicely.
He would fit great, but because they're not spending that kind of money, this is the perfect spot. Either Ketel Marte for like 5 years, 100, or 2 years of Brendan Donovan.
I think like the Pirates are spending money. Sign Bo Bichette. Mm-hmm. Trade for Ketel Marte. Mm-hmm.
I would love to see them trade for. Well, now they have Brandon Lau at second base.
I know. But Ketel Marte, you could bounce.
We talked about Ketel Marte for the Pirates as a fit. Okay, I want to hit weeds because we've got a big picture topic to discuss. We're going to combine articles. Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon talking about the luxury tax impact on the slowness of the market. Evan Drellick and Katie Wu talking about the TV money disappearing that is affecting more of the mid-level teams. And then you look up and you're like, okay, so if the big market teams are affected, the mid-market teams are affected, and the small market teams don't spend, this is where you also have issues to find teams that are going to pay money in free agency. So on the luxury tax threshold part, there are many teams that are paying about double the price for anybody that they pick up at this point. Edwin Diaz signed by the Dodgers. His number, if you factor in the deferrals, is $21 million, but he's costing the Dodgers about $43 million. If the Dodgers got Kyle Tucker for $40 million a year, he would cost them about $84 million. Blue Jays don't have as much of a hit, but it's pretty close. Blue Jays $40 million for Kyle Tucker would cost them $76 million. So if we're just doing rough numbers, like he's costing double. Why? Luxury tax penalties. That's what a soft salary cap is. And so it hits the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, right? There are a lot of teams that play ball for these types of players, but in their brain, they go, hey, this isn't 40. This guy costs us $80 million per season if we're over the luxury tax thresholds, right? That's the rough math.
No, that's how they do it.
I know, but that is a barrier. That's an obstacle.
For some teams. And then there's other teams that are like, we don't care.
Yeah, like the Dodgers, who said, we'll spend $169 million on the luxury tax because we won the World Series.
And we're making $200+ million off Shohei every year, and Yamamoto, and Freddie,
and playoff games,
and winning World Series.
Merch.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays made 100+. We'll get to that at some point.
Blue Jays made over $100 million.
Okay, so that's one part of the puzzle.
It's weird how when you win, you make more money.
That is the key.
It's strange.
To life in baseball.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
If you win, you make more money.
Some teams think, well, if I sign a Japanese player, I get more marketing. But you know what also just helps? Winning. Mm-hmm. Winning creates playoff games, creates more merch sales, more season ticket sales, blah, 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 on and on. Okay, that's one piece of the puzzle. The next one is an article that came out that said 9 MLB teams' TV money in jeopardy as FanDuel networks continue to struggle. This article put together by Evan Drellick and Katie Wu. That network has a chance of folding, has a chance of moving to DAZN, which is looking to buy them. For baseball fans to know, it means that baseball teams are either going to get less money to stay on this network than they were anticipating, or all of this ends up going to the league taking over those teams. And if that happens, they get no guaranteed money. It's more of a rev split based on distribution of the percentage of sales, sponsorship sales, etc. So just to give an example, and the teams involved on this are the Braves, the Reds, the Tigers, the Royals, the Angels, the Marlins, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Rays. The Nats are probably likely hopping over. They weren't coming from this FanDuel TV situation, but they also are probably hopping over to MLB. What does this do? This creates cost uncertainty. GMs say, how much can I spend? And owners say, I don't know. How much are we getting in the local TV money? The national deals are done for a long time, right? They know how much they're getting.
One more year, I think.
For the national deals?
They all end.
After next year. It's after.
Yeah, 26.
Oh, no. Sorry. After
28.
After 27.
Yes.
After 27. But let me give an example of a local deal, okay? And I'm just going to throw a random number out there. If you are the Cincinnati Reds and you were getting $50 million a year, I'm making that number up, okay? $50 million a year from the network for the 2026 season. That's either going to get reduced or be gone. And instead of that number, MLB takes it over and they give you a percentage of what you make for the year, which could end up being half of that. So what happens? Ownership goes to GM and says, hey, I don't know how much we have now, and we might have half of that. We might have less than half of that. That creates a huge issue with a bunch of these teams that are, I would say, more in like the 10 to 20
Yeah, I would say the middle. The
range.
Cardinals.
Right. The Cardinals.
The Reds.
The Tigers. The Royals. The Angels. Even the Brewers. So we have both of these factors combined, and when people say, why is there such a holdup with the free agent market? This is one of those reasons.
Can't argue that. Everything you said is true.
But that's more recent news with the TV.
Yeah.
Many GMs, it's a really good article by Evan and Katie. Many GMs didn't see this part coming. They thought they were okay, but then...
Well, because FanDuel said they could cover it, and now they've started to miss payments.
And when we say FanDuel, it's not the betting company.
Didn't they miss NHL or NBA? They've already missed payments on certain teams, right? Cardinals, didn't they miss the Cardinals?
They missed on the Cardinals. So what that does is it means the Cardinals can just get out of the deal now because they didn't get their payment.
But where are they going to go?
Most of them just go to MLB. But then MLB's plan is...
Well, MLB wants all the teams under their umbrella anyways.
Yes.
This is Rob Manfred's dream.
It is Rob Manfred's dream. They're going to have like 20-something teams, and then it's just...
Yeah, but then you have the Dodgers, the Mets,
separate.
The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Cubs that have their own... I guess the White Sox you can throw in there. They have their own TV network.
Phillies, Giants.
Yeah, Phillies, Giants. But I'm talking like the big ones.
Yeah, but that's later on, right? But for now, this is the immediate, is these teams might not have a TV home right now. And if they do, they will get less money than they anticipated. But yes, the Cardinals, there was a missed payment. Main Street, which runs all of these sports networks, according to this article from Evan Drellick, lost approximately $200 million in 2025 across its portfolio, which includes baseball, but they've also missed payments to NBA teams as well. And they have NHL teams involved. So it sounds a little complicated. I'm trying to simplify this for baseball terms. For baseball terms, there are teams that don't know how much they can budget for their free agent spending. And you might say, who cares? The teams can still afford to do stuff. I agree, but that's not how things are looked at, right? Most owners are looking at their team and saying, this is how much I have allotted for you to spend for free agency, right? You can spend $50 million on 2026 contracts additional to what we already have committed. And then the GM goes, okay. And then now, in the past week, the owner might have gone to his GM and said, just kidding, you have half that because I'm anticipating about half that for the local TV deal. And in terms of our big pot and how I budget it, we just lost some money.
Agreed.
So I just wanted to explain how that impacts everything and why it's going to make free agency even messier. And what's going to really happen is probably less money for free agents. Will it affect the big boys as much? Probably not.
Nope.
But Kratz, you always love to say this. Who's going to get affected by this most likely?
The majority of big league players,
Mm-hmm.
not the superstars, the majority.
Yes.
That's it. That's where it's always going to be. Manipulation of playing time or manipulation of service time, salary collusion doesn't affect the superstars. It's the 85% to 87% of guys in the league who are 1 to 6 or 1 to 6 years of service, or the ones who are, that veteran at the end of his career looking for 1-year deals. Just squash 85% of the salaries down. It's totally fine if we call up a prospect or even just a AAA guy who's going to make the league minimum, because that's the easiest way to save money.
Exactly. So that's what we're playing with right now. That's why so many teams are in a state of limbo. You've got about a third of the league in a state of limbo based off their TV money. You've got another third of the league that looks at most of free agency now and says, I need to factor in double. And then the other third of the league doesn't really participate in free agency anyway.
Or
Well,
less.
Much less.
They play on the margins.
Much
They're looking
less.
for the advantages on the margins.
Right.
I mean,
Or this is the
or
first
last
time
year-
you're getting involved. Right.
Or last
Like
year, those teams got $15+ million from the luxury tax from Rob Manfred saying, sorry about your local TV revenue, we'll help you out. Now this year, sorry, we're not giving you the extra. It's like Christmas vacation. They gave a Christmas bonus last year to those teams whose local TV markets got crushed or were going through limbo. And now Rob this year was like, you get Jelly of the Month Club.
You know why they're not doing that though? I'll back the league on this one. They'd be doing this for like half the league at this point. There's too many teams that they'd have to give this extra money to, and then also it becomes a politics game. You're talking to every owner on the phone. How come the Rays got an extra 15 and the Reds only got an extra 10? Like it gets pretty hairy pretty quickly. So yes, what Kratz is referring to is there was like kind of an emergency slush fund situation they were giving teams, but that's not happening anymore. So if you want to read more about it and sound way smarter than we just did, The Athletic, Evan Drellick, Katie Wu, go check it out. Our guest is ready. He is the newest member of the Angels, Drew Pomeranz, joining us right now. Drew, great to have you on the show. Thank you for the time. Congrats on the deal with the Angels. Tell us how it all went down and how you doing.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I don't know. I mean, this time last year, I didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, I had a pretty good year that allowed me to continue playing because I don't think I would have signed another minor league deal and kept this going. But I wanted to stay close to SoCal where we live and where my family is. And they connected with us early, and we talked to some other teams too. Kind of stayed in the loop with everybody. And then we obviously got a deal done. I was hoping to get it done before the holidays, just because, if you don't get it done before then, sometimes, it slows down and then you start to get pushed towards spring training and, then you got to worry about all that stuff.
Oh wait, that's not a real thing. Before we dig into this, Drew, what is that picture behind you? Is that you surfing?
No, I wish it was. I just noticed
okay.
that. I'm in my son's bedroom. I wish that was, I wish I could say that was me
Oh.
surfing a giant wave right there.
Just
I was
say
like,
it.
yeah, you could have just said, because it's so blurred out, you couldn't really tell. So you could have just said, yeah, man,
know,
I was
you-
carving.
I
Aren't you
wish.
from Tennessee, though? You just said your family is in California, so your whole...
Yeah, I'm from Tennessee, but we're living in SoCal right now. We're in Laguna Beach. That's why there's a surfer behind me right here. I mean, we're probably like 30 minutes from Angel Stadium. It's this is extremely convenient.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense for the Angels, right? I mean,
Yeah.
totally makes sense. By the way, what you just said is what I want to hit on about, if I don't sign before the holidays, we talk about this all the time. Kratz and I do. Your parents start calling, right? Your wife is like, where are we going for spring training? Your kids are saying, oh, Daddy, are we going? Are you still playing? What's happening, right? So, yes, it's awesome that you got a place, one, that's close to your house. Two, you're going to spring training in Arizona. And three, you can live at home and make that commute. I mean, listen, Congratulations.
Exactly.
Congratulations to you.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like a Christmas miracle. And to be honest, it's the best time to sign right before Christmas. So as I drove over to the team store and bought a bunch of stuff to give everybody for Christmas. So it was good in many ways.
Last minute shopping. I love that. And first of all, I got to say, you're cooked. You're never playing anywhere else again. I tell everybody who signs close to home, you are never going to sign anywhere else. There's no way your wife is going to say, or anybody in your family is going to say, yeah, no problem. I'll be fine. Like I'll fly out to Chicago and we'll do that again. It's fine. Nope.
No,
Not
you're
gonna
exactly
happen.
right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I kind of had to sign close to home this time around. So I think you're exactly right. I think I'm restricted regionally, majorly now. So
All right. Take us through last year. Take us through pitching in Tacoma. Take us through the fact that your injuries and then you were pitching in the minor leagues. Like some people don't know, you weren't in the big leagues for full 3 years, or is it full 2 years and then you made it back last year?
well, I didn't pitch. I mean, I was still under contract for a couple years, but
Yep.
the last game I pitched in was August of 2021 in the big leagues. I mean, I'll give you the whole spiel. It's like last year, coming back after my Padres contract ran out. I guess that was 2023 was the last year, and I got hurt at the end of the year, and I just kept getting hurt. So then coming into spring training the next year, I didn't know if anyone was going to give me a chance. Again, I was trying to sign close to SoCal. I actually signed with the Angels for spring training in 2024, and I came in, I signed literally the day before camp started. I came in and I kind of surprised myself, had a pretty good spring, didn't make the team. And then that was my first time dealing with a minor league signing and trying to manage how do should I opt out? Should I go somewhere else? Should I think now I've settled on, I think it's sometimes better to stay with the team if you're going to go to the minor leagues, unless you have like a clear opportunity, just because you have this like period of time sometimes they get to know you and then they want to watch you, but you already have all this relationship built up during spring training. But that's a whole other thing. So I went and signed with the Dodgers. I played in Oklahoma City for a month and a half. We had some dialogue there with them, but I kind of missed my window of getting called up there, and opted out a few times, and I then I opted out one of the times, the last time, and the Giants needed someone for like 4 days, and I was like, you know what, I'll go there, it's fine. And I went there for 4 days, but then you get caught in this loop as a veteran guy or just a player on a minor league deal in general, because you sign these advanced consents and you basically feel like you're fighting for like 2 days at a time, one day at a time, a week at a time, or just you're filling these little gaps for these teams, which then but I was home. I stopped after those 4 days. I just kind of stayed home because I was getting a bunch of like, 2 week opt-outs, 1 month opt-outs. Again, looking at these like advanced consents, like I'm just chipping around for a day here, a day there. And I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop this. And I didn't feel super great anyway. So then fast forward, I was basically kind of done. I was like, I don't want to play anymore. And then as time went on, I took a few months off where I didn't do anything. And then I was like, you know what, I should probably like start working out because I need to do something, because I was just enjoying having nothing on the schedule, which you guys know is post playing days. And then the Mariners had kind of reached out the previous summer about one of those like come play for a month and then opt out, whatever. So they reached out, they gave me what I wanted, and I was like, you know what, if I feel good, I'll go to spring training. If I don't, I won't. I went there, had another good spring, and like I said before, I opted out and kind of like to see what was out there. Hurt a little bit, but no one really wanted to take a chance. So then the mistake I made last year, I didn't do. So I stayed with the same team, and I went to Tacoma for 3 weeks. Was doing that whole thing there. I pitched well. I mean, I had a couple saves. Like I felt better. My velocity was better. Everything was better. I thought I had a good chance there because at the time they had one lefty in the big leagues. I think Spire was the only guy up, and then had that upper mobility clause on April 20th come up and, got scooped over to the Cubs. So,
I mean, that's a crazy story, but you know what happened? You started a playoff game. You started a playoff game.
Game 5.
So all that
yeah,
stuff that you're talking about, you started a winner go home playoff game. Explain
yeah.
what happened when you went to the Cubs, because you had a really nice year for the Cubs. So what did they do? What did they change? How did they make you into their game 5 starter?
I think that they didn't really change much. So I knew that clause was coming up in my contract that week, and I was kind of getting at the point where I'm like, am I just gonna keep doing this, or like, where's the like, when am I gonna press the eject button with AAA? And I had that clause, and we went to Oklahoma City for a week, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it everything I got, throw as hard as I can this week. And sure enough, like, the velo jumped a little bit, and I think I struck out the side in the first appearance, and then I got a save that week, and it timed up perfectly because then I got brought into, I got scooped up by the Cubs, and I was feeling in a good place. I went out there, and I told people this with the ABS system. It's going to be interesting to see with guys this year anyway. But for me, then I was like, you know what, this feels like I'm thrown into like the tiniest little box, so I might as well just try and throw everything down the middle and see what happens. So the first like month or two with the Cubs, when I went up, I was just trying to fill up the zone. This is what I had been doing in AAA, and I was having success. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing this. And, I have a very simple approach to pitching. I'm going to throw a fastball and I'm going to throw a curveball off of that. And it's, there's not really much thought going on in my head, to be honest. And, it was just a perfect timing of things. I had success again. And then, after a couple months, I had to obviously as they adjusted, I had to adjust. And, I had a little bit of an adjustment period, but then I kind of realized, I was in a better place with my, pitch selections. And, um, then that runs into, you start to get into these end of the year and you get these big games. And so I would always ramp it up a little bit in the big games just because, it's more excitement, it's more, adrenaline, all of those things. And then, going in, so I was feeling really good going into towards the end of the year, into the playoffs. And I have a great relationship with all those guys. I have a great relationship with Counsell just from playing with him in Milwaukee too. Um, I had all those games, I opened games for him. I did everything. I mean, that's always my thing with Counsell. I mean, this is back when I played in Milwaukee. When I got here, he called me when I got to Chicago. Like, he called me the day I was coming, and I was like, you know what? Well, I'll do whatever you need me to do. You need me to get outs, the middle, in, beginning, whatever. Like, just tell me what you need me to do. And that's pretty much what I did.
You're playing like a rookie in the big leagues at age in the upper 30s because you were just like, whatever, I'm just going to go out and throw
Whatever.
strikes.
Yeah,
That'll be cool.
exactly.
Yeah, first rounders. The game's so easy for you guys. But my question is going to veer off of last year a little bit, what you said about the ABS. I've always said when they started talking about the ABS and they started talking about the strike zone and everything, I caught you in spring training in 16 with the Padres, and then we played together in the big leagues in San Francisco. I said there's no curveball that I've caught in games
hmm
that I think would benefit in the ABS, and people will be so shocked at where
hmm
your curveball lands. Do you think that's going to be
hmm
a slight advantage for you this year because of how your curveball is not called at the bottom of the zone and how big of a
Yeah.
break, and it's just a unique break? Do you feel like it's
Yeah.
going to be an advantage for you?
Yeah, I think it could be. I think it was a bigger advantage when I think initially they had, didn't they? I think they had the zone at the front of the plate, right? And then
Yeah,
guys
and
were
then they
like bouncing
shifted.
balls. Guys were
Yeah.
bouncing balls. They were calling strikes. And then they drifted it towards the middle. If is that correct, or just back a little bit?
Guys weren't bouncing the balls. You were bouncing the balls. I'm telling you, there's nobody that was able to do it because I used to watch when I would catch
Yeah.
you. I'd look at what the machine says, and now the machine is what everybody's using. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is a strike. You lost that pitch. I'm like, I'm glad I caught it. Like, it's
Yeah.
a unique
Especially yeah.
pitch.
Especially in 2016 when you were catching me because I threw like 45% curveballs. I feel like I could just nick the bottom bar there. So we'll see. I mean, again, like, I don't know. I just felt like with the ABS box, it feels so small. It feels like you're like it feels like the plate's not as wide, and the plate's not. I think it felt high. I think the bottom of the zone felt higher for some reason to me, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping it benefits me pretty good on the curveball this next year. But I was pretty heavy fastball last year, so.
That's fair.
So Drew, I wanted to ask you about the Angels more and the offseason pickups. So what do you think of the rest of their offseason so far? It's not like I'm asking you to like give analysis on the team and each pick, but more like they trade for Grayson Rodriguez. They pick up Alek Manoah. Like, these are names that most baseball fans know and have either had big success or have big stuff. Even actually, they just signed Kirby Yates as well. So just wanted to get your thoughts on some of these pitchers, whether you've watched them pitch or I don't know if you cross paths with Yates at all, but and with the young guys, like what you would tell them. They're probably going to come up to you like, "Whoa, you didn't pitch in the bigs for 3 years? I've gone through some adversity." Pull up a chair, grab a beer. What do you got for me, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen over the years like guys they cycle back through guys. I think it was like some of the guys they'd signed over the years. I've seen some of these other guys pitch. Again, there's a lot. Everyone's talented. There's a lot of talented guys. I played with Kirby in San Diego. We played together. We have guys who've been around and done things, and Kirby's closed games. Kirby's done a lot of back end stuff, and he's a great pitcher. Um, Kurt, after one of the last interviews Kurt called me. And I told him the same thing. I told Council before. I'm like, you use me. I have no ego about this. Like, I'm enjoying the game of baseball. Like, use me however you need to use me. And if you need anything from me, just let me know. But that's my role. So whatever they need to do with me, and I was again being kind of familiar with. I was in spring training with the Angels in 2024. So there's a lot of the same guys that are still there, and there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talented guys there. I mean, I know that you read stuff about them taking flyers on guys, all the time. But again, these are talented baseball players. It's not like these people. It's not like we aren't good baseball players. It's a really talented team. So I'm excited to get in there to spring training and meet some of the guys I don't know, and get reconnected with some of the guys that do.
How big of a help was it that you have a relationship right with Mike Maddox? Do you not, the pitching coach that's there? And you don't know Mike Maddox? I thought you knew him.
No.
You never had him before, but there
No,
was familiarity
Kirby did.
somewhere with the staff, other staff members?
I mean, there was some before. I'm trying to think. I do know. That's the problem is, like, I was with this team last year and all the coaches changed. It happens. It happens
Well,
quickly.
Bussy's still there,
Yeah.
so I mean, you still have Bussy.
Yeah, Bussy's still there. You're right.
Yeah.
I know Bussy. Daryl Scott I saw is
Okay.
on the staff, who I know from Colorado.
Okay.
When I was there back in the day. I'm sure there's going to be more people. I mean, Brady Anderson was around when I was in camp with them last year too. So there's a lot of guys that are coming back through that I've met at some point or another.
Okay, so that's good. So you have a little bit of familiarity, because I always thought that was one of the strangest things as a free agent, when you sign with a team and you go in and you're like, I know nobody. Maybe you might know a player or two, right? Or and if you're lucky enough, you've had a coach or somewhere else that you know. But if you just go in there blind, you're like, I know nobody here. Who do I talk to? Who do I hang out with? Where do I go? And you've been with enough teams now, so you've done it. But it's always strange when you walk into a new clubhouse.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But again, we're all in the same boat in a different place. But again, like, there's guys in the bullpen. I met Jordan Romano already. I did all my like physical stuff with him. We did the same day. And I know Kirby. I know some of the other guys in the bullpen. Stevenson, I played catch with in 2024 in spring training every day. And, there's Ohapi was there. I know Darno, I met him this off season, but I've obviously met him before. So I know a lot of these guys. It's not, it's going to be pretty easy walking in there, I think, this time.
Go through last year with the Cubs. I'm always interested to know a team like that where it's like, they made the move for Tucker. Justin Steele goes down. Kate Horton comes in and really solidifies himself. What was the feeling for you guys going into the playoffs with a lot of things? Uncertainty about Tucker, a guy that was your best hitter in your lineup. Cade Horton obviously wasn't able to pitch, and that was a big detriment. What was the feeling in the clubhouse? Because we talked to Boyd earlier, and he's positive Matt, so that's just him. But what was the true feeling when you guys were like, we're going in, we got to play a divisional opponent, like we got this? And were you guys like, we're going to the World Series?
Yeah, we were feeling great. I mean, the Padres was I think they played them before I got there, so it must have been earlier this season. So going into that, we were just going right at it. And obviously the next round against Milwaukee, we played good against them all year. It kind of had some back and forth in the second half when they were on that hot streak, but we felt really, really confident going into that. I think the biggest thing, obviously the Cade Horton stuff, the timing of that, could have changed. But again, like, Cade's a gamer, and Cade's a great pitcher, and he's going to have a really good career. So obviously the timing of losing him was a big piece of something we were kind of missing in the playoffs last year, and that would have, I think it could have helped push us over the top in a much better place. But you work with what you have, and we were confident going in, and we had a great group of guys. We were all really close. We all did stuff together, hung out together, and we were just having a good time. No matter where we were, we go to you go to any road trip, we're always together. So we had a lot of confidence rolling into the playoffs this year, and we were just trying to keep that going. I mean, all the way into that game 5 could have gone either way. Obviously, it didn't go in our favor, but it was pretty awesome.
Okay, so now I want to ask you about moving to the Angels here, Drew. This team hasn't been to the postseason in a minute. And before I ask my question, too, you have a ring, right? Did you win a ring with Boston in 2018?
Yes, 2018, yeah.
Okay, so you've got that checked off, right? Great career. Like you said, hey, you're focusing on where you're going to be these days, too, so you're near the Pham and all of that. The Angels' bar is probably lower than some of the teams. You've been a club that hasn't even been to the postseason. Sure, every player wants to win the World Series heading to the year, but like when you look at how long it's been and one of your upcoming teammates, Mike Trout, not being part of the postseason for a long time, is that part of what drives you with a team like this, aside from individually trying to be the best that you can out of the bullpen?
Yeah, I think that obviously everyone's goal is to make it to the postseason. I think that there's different ways teams are put together and different ways you're able to put teams together. And I think that, sometimes, you never know what could happen year to year. There's, like I said, there's enough talent on this team to do whatever we need to do. Everyone, obviously, it depends on the health of everybody. Can really dictate which way the season goes. I think that, the coaching staff, guys are being brought in. I think that can help, get everyone moving in the right direction. But again, it's the goal of everybody to be in the playoffs. So, I think that we'll see when we get there and get everyone together. But, I think everyone's going to be working towards that same goal, because, even if you have an individual goals to be good, it still should collectively be to win games together. And if everyone can just stay on the field and stay healthy and just grind games out, I think any team could make the postseason, to be honest.
Yeah, we need Mike Trout in the playoffs. Let's
Yeah.
before we need him back. And so, Drew, help him get back to the playoffs, please.
That was my question.
Yeah, please. We need him.
I agree.
Drew, before we let you go, do you know what tomorrow is? Do you know what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow night?
I do know what happens tomorrow night because I'll be there.
Oh, you're going. That was going to be my
I
so
am.
explain to everybody what's happening tomorrow night for you.
There is a very large football game happening in Phoenix, Arizona.
And who's playing?
Ole Miss versus Miami. I should have done this from live. I should have done this interview live from there. I mean, that would have been much better.
Absolutely. All right, so Scott went to Miami. Can we get a little wager on the game here?
Yeah, something's got to happen here.
What do you want?
I don't know. You tell me. You guys are the
I
my
mean, you
team
put me on the
sucks.
spot with this, and
My team sucks, so I can't say no.
I think
Wow, it's-
I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna make me do, but I feel like you should have to wear an Ole Miss jersey if Ole Miss wins
that's
on
fair
on a show.
on FT. Okay. So
Okay.
then we need him to wear a Miami
Okay.
jersey
What do you want me to
to
wear
spring training
one?
one day.
Yeah, to spring training one day.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, right? That's a fair trade-off.
Feels
If
fair.
you guys come through, I'll wear it that day or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
We'll be out
good.
there.
Absolutely.
We will. We'll be in Arizona. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Virtual handshake on that.
Virtual
I'll have
handshake. All right.
There you go. I'll have my Ole Miss jersey that AJ will be happy to buy for me. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Can I pick the player? Can I get you a Lane Kiffin jersey?
you can get whatever you want. And then I'll get a Miami jersey sent to.
He can.
Drew
What about
for
the Devin
spring
Hester
training.
that's hanging up?
Oh yeah,
That might not fit him though.
He's got a Devin.
Yeah, we'll
you
make-
know,
That's a real size one.
the
Yeah,
sometimes
AJ can
in
make
football
Bussy.
jerseys-
Yeah, AJ can
Like-
make Bussy get me a jersey.
Absolutely.
Deal.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
The Devin Hester one is like a
Kid
No
small.
crop top.
Midriff.
the midriff.
I don't know
what
if
do
I'm
they call
signing
it
up
in
for that.
school?
Yeah, no, it's-
It's the crop little
Yeah.
thing.
We need to see that.
We'll get you. We'll
We
get
need
you
to
a
see
real
that.
jersey.
That chewed
We're
up,
doing
that chewed
full-size
up bubble
jerseys here.
gum, that chewed up bubble gum pitcher body. We need to see that in a cut off Miami jersey.
Oh no, nobody needs to see that. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm there for that.
Well, enjoy the game. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, good luck to your
Yep.
squad. And yes, we will hopefully, for my case, see you in spring training with a Hurricanes jersey. All right.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Drew.
All right, see ya.
Drew is part of the Angels, and the Halo Territory show is part of the FT network. They mentioned Drew the other day in the debut episode, Mike DiGiovanna, and former Angels basher Mark Trumbo talking about what the new look bullpen is going to bring to the table. The Angels bullpen, by the way, was ranked towards the bottom last year, and they've made some nice pickups here. Drew, I just talked about Kirby Yates, who we can get into, but anyway, they'll cover all of that. So check out Halo Territory, part of the FT network.
They're trying. They're trying in
For
the
sure.
right way this year.
Yes.
It
Yes.
feels like.
I'd like to see one big position player move too, but
Again,
they talked about Bellinger on there.
Yeah.
You talked about Bo Bichette.
I'd like
They-
to see one big starting pitcher / bullpen guy move too.
I think they could be in play for Gino Suarez as well. There's another third baseman that could be added to the mix. I mean, oh my gosh, there was one Angels fan online who was talking about bringing Yoan Moncada back, who actually was fine when he was playing, but I mean, he can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
But someone was like, bear with me. Like, if he's healthy, like he was pretty good. I'm like, but he's never healthy.
Yeah.
Like,
who was it?
You look
Jerry?
at this
Was
year-
Jerry on the chat?
I don't know. I mean, he had 289 plate appearances this year. So I'm
They've
a
been saying
pass
if
on
he's
that one.
healthy, since he's been in the minor leagues, since he got traded from the Red
He had
Sox.
one. He had
Sorry.
one good year. He had one good year.
I'm a pass on Yoan Moncada back for the Angels. If I'm the Angels and you want to, I know this sounds kind of silly, but you just got rid of Rendon. Like, put someone in there that's going to like play every day and just be the
You need
opposite of
Alex
that.
Bregman.
That's like
But
the high end. But I'm
But
saying,
I'm
even
saying
like,
you need a dirt dog, ball buster
yes,
guy that can go in there and show Neto, Christian Moore, Shanawell, Joe Adell, those still younger guys. Like, this is how a big league veteran is supposed to go about it. I know they have Trout, but Trout's been banged up a little bit. He's not really a guy that's gonna. They need a guy that'll stir it up a little
right.
bit.
I mean, Bregman is that, but I'm saying unlikely they're going to be playing ball for Bregman.
No, I know, but he would. In
Sure.
an ideal world, he'd be a really good.
They're
fit.
probably, here's what's probably going to happen. They're probably going to trade for Arenado and make the Cardinals eat 98% of the contract or something.
Okay,
But if
I like
I'm
that
them,
because Arenado shows up every day
he's
and
a
plays.
grind. Yeah, like
and
he
he's-
will.
Yeah,
I don't
he'll
wanna say
he'll
grinder.
show.
He's a hustler. Like
Yes.
he will set a tone over at third base. And I think Gino Suarez would do that too, though. Gino plays
Yeah,
every
agreed.
day. He's really likable. Like always rates high as a clubhouse guy. Everyone loves
Agreed.
playing with him. Either of those guys. I want to see something like that over at third base to be like, hey, the stain of what that was with the Rendon mess is over.
You need somebody to not only let the fans and the people, but the players like kind of turn the page. As someone said, turn the page.
Mm-hmm.
I love some of their young core. And I think if you're a veteran guy on a 1-year deal or even like an Arenado, like Go to California. You get to play with Trout. Like, Trout is still, as much as people are like, oh, he's injured, all this stuff, like, he's still like, he's an anomaly. You want to, I feel like some guys still want to play with him. They want to see what he's about. Joe Adell had a great year. Obviously, defensively, he needs some help. Neto supposedly has that aura. Rengifo had a down year, but the year before, he was awesome. Shannawell's like Mark Grace. Like, I just think.
Rengifo's a free agent.
Oh, Rengifo's gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Do your research, Scott. You're going to get blown up in the chat.
No, my bad. My bad. I hit 209 in the big leagues. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot.
Why'd you say do my research?
Because there's a guy in the chat that just keeps saying, oh, do your research. We're trying to cover 700,000 players at the same time. Sorry if we get some stuff confused.
Well, what did we mess up?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's not worth your time.
I heard you've been getting, like, this is a day. Some days I'm really in the chat. Some days I'm really not.
But today's my day in the chat.
Yeah,
and
I'm just
there are
busy
just certain
today.
people I'm
free agent. Rengifo's a free agent.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
hard to keep up with 700. I mean, literally 1,000 players and everyone that's a free agent, especially on teams that we don't listen. No offense to the Angels, but we don't talk about them as much because they haven't been good.
No, I mean, it's a national show. We cover all 30 teams, but we don't cover them all equally. We cover them based on the news that breaks and the big games. So you're going to cover the playoff teams more. Yes, I think that's all. That's all fair. Baseball is definitely one of the more difficult sports to keep up with. It's actually why it prevents some casual fans from really being involved. If you're not watching every day and following the transactions,
is hard.
Yeah. Right? Like most people, you have a casual combo. You want to talk about LeBron. You want to talk about some quarterbacks in the NFL. Like you can BS without knowing a lot. Baseball, you can sound dumb in 5 minutes.
Stuff.
Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Foul territory. Best baseball coverage. That'll get you. You won't sound like an idiot anymore. Bang-a-rang.
That's really nice of you.
What a nice.
Baseball the way it should be covered. Okay, let's get to the next topic. So after this, we've got Hot Corner and a new company that is starting with statistics that might be of interest to some of these FT fans. You know, Cyrus and Will Salmon wrote an article about PhamGraphs, not fan, Pham with an M, PhamGraphs. Tommy Pham makes his case for MLB's next big metric. Tommy Pham is one of the most
Can we get him on? I got to
quotes.
Call him. And
please,
we got to get him on to discuss this.
He is so entertaining. But anyway, he's completely laying out all kinds of
sun, wind,
all kinds of discrepancies in statistics. Outs above average, but what about the sun and wind? And then also let's start here. He remembers a play that frustrated him. He's like a game in Milwaukee. He's playing left field. Ball's hit about 360 feet, 90 miles per hour off the bat. Short hops the outfield wall. Wind carries it. He was playing in. He couldn't get to the ball. And he said that really hurt his defensive numbers because StatCast doesn't factor the wind part. A quote from Pham, when I learned that, I'm like, okay, if the wind's blowing out, I need to play a little bit deeper. It's a really flawed system, but it's getting factored into our value. He gives a lot of credit to certain players within this article, too. He gives a ton of love to Pete Crow Armstrong. He's like, Pete Crow Armstrong's even better than the numbers, which love him because he has to navigate the Wrigley wind every day. But it's not just that. He also gets into how hitting statistics are drastically affected by the team that you're on. And it goes beyond your lineup support. He said that being on the Pirates this past season means that you're playing in a ton of close games. A team that was pretty good on the pitching side, pretty awful on the hitting side, and they were often playing in these close games against good teams that would use their high leverage guys. He said that versus if you're like on a very successful team that has a good offense and you're winning some 10-2 games, and then it's like 6-2, that turns into 10-2 because you're facing the mop-up guys. Like, we didn't get those ABs. And there actually was stats done by guys like, in the article that said he's got a point.
No.
But the answer from GMs and front offices was we have our internal system factors that in too. So there's
no such thing as clutch either, don't forget.
Right.
There's not a clutch gene, and RBIs don't matter. And yeah, listen, I think this is pretty cool that a current player is calling out a lot of things. I always say this. I remember we'd go to Detroit, and they would always find a negative number on you to throw up on the giant scoreboard they have in left field. And it would be like when the dew point is 72 degrees on a Tuesday afternoon and the wind's blowing in at 7.6 miles per hour, he hits 062. And you're like, huh? What are they talking? Like, this is kind of what Pham is talking about. And listen, wind plays factors, sun plays factors, hangovers play factors, tiredness plays factors.
Well,
but I mean, it's all
that's not to blame. Like, that's
no, but
the
like
player's
good
fault.
teams, bad teams. He has a point on good teams and bad teams.
That's what I wanted to get your
But
take
you
on.
said it has nothing to do with lineup construction. Usually, better teams have better lineups. So yes, it has something to do with lineup construction.
No, I believe it has
who's
to do with
hitting
lineup
you? Who's
construction.
hitting where? Who's hitting? Like when Juan Soto hit in front of Aaron Judge, he got on base. You know, he got a lot more fastballs to hit.
Yeah, but he still had a great season.
No, he did. But he also got a lot more fastballs to hit because they didn't want to face Judge.
Right.
Right? I mean, I know when I hit behind Barry Bonds walked 275 times that year because they were like, we'll rather face him. And then they put Edgardo Alfonso behind him, and he still walked 275 times, right? So it does matter.
So here, for the public to know, the Pirates had the highest average leverage in the sport as a lineup, meaning on average, their games were tighter than anyone else's, and every at-bat potentially means more in terms of win probability, and it means that they're facing most likely the higher leverage relievers. So this was like confirmed by the stat nerds. They said, you're right, and a public stat like weighted runs created plus doesn't factor that in. Apparently OPS plus factors that in a little bit, which is why I continue to love that statistic. But Kratz, the answer from front offices is, yeah, we get it, and the public might not see it all, but we do factor that stuff in, and I believe them. So it's a good call out by Pham, and if anything, it just means that we should either take some of the public stats with a grain of salt or continue to improve the public stats so it factors in the things that he's talking about.
Yeah, 100%. Or, I mean, did we even factor in, you talked about lineup construction. Tommy Pham hitting on the Pirates is going to be hitting in a different spot in the lineup than Tommy Pham hitting on the Dodgers or Tommy Pham hitting on the Phillies. Part of that is, you're part of your decision. We talk about it all the time. When you sign someplace, do you want to go somewhere that stinks? Do you want to go somewhere that's good? You're going to be used as a higher leverage piece, which the other teams are going to say, we can't let Tommy Pham beat us because the Pirates just called some guy up that we don't know, and we'll let him beat us. So they're going to pitch those guys differently too. So I think the points though are very negligible. It's not like Tommy Pham's going to have a 800 OPS if he had played on another team and not a 675 OPS. Like it's negligible. It's 15 points, but that looks way better if you had a 700 OPS than a 675 OPS.
Right. And that's his point. Yeah. Guys grinding out at bats, and then it gets to you in the lineup, and then the pitcher's worn down. There's all kinds of factors. The stats aren't perfect. Use your eye test in addition to what you're seeing statistically. Okay. Let's get to our next guest. New member of the Chicago White Sox, Anthony Kay, joining us right now on Foul Territory. Anthony, great to have you on the show. Congratulations on the offseason contract. How you doing? How's the offseason going for you now that you're joining up with the White Sox?
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me. Everything's going good over here. Starting to ramp up a little bit and get going, and everything's been pretty good.
I'll let you lay out your story first, Anthony. Can you explain to the fans what you've gone through in your journey through Major League Baseball and then overseas and back?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have gone through it all. Traded, DFA'd a bunch of times, released, and then went overseas for 2 years. So, I've pretty much seen it all at this point.
What happened out there?
I mean, it was just a great experience, The Bay Stars really treated me great. They let me, become a starter again, and I kind of just, worked some things out. Kind of was able to stretch out again as a starter, and just kind of figured it out a little bit.
We talk about guys, you go over there, you make a change, you get some new Mizuno cleats, you have a pause or all that stuff, hitters, pitchers, whatever it is. Before you were going over there, what did it look like? Because we rarely talk about, we just talk about the success. What did it look like for you at the end of 23? Like, are you like, I want to be a starter. They see me as a reliever. What were teams telling you to ultimately make you say, I'm going over to Japan because that option is now open?
Yeah, so 23, that was like my first full year as being a reliever. Um, but at the end of the year, I got DFA'd and was a free agent, and I had a couple minor league deals. There were a couple teams that were going to let me, kind of work it out as a starter in AAA, but obviously I chose to go to Japan for just a better opportunity compared to playing in the minor leagues.
Anthony, let me be the first to welcome you to the White Sox, okay? As a proud White Sox fan, welcome to the White Sox. What they do in Japan? What was the difference in Japan that you think unlocked your potential that people obviously thought was there? You were in the big leagues, you were up and down, and teams kept giving you an opportunity. So what did they do in Japan that unlocked your potential?
Yeah, for me, I kind of struggled a little bit when I first got over there. A lot of those guys were, they foul a lot of pitches off. They're over there, just trying to get pitch counts up a bunch, and I was still kind of trying to pitch how I was in America, chasing strikeouts, and that led to a little bit more walks, and about halfway through my first year there, I kind of did a little was just checking everyone else out around the league and seeing how they were having success, and those guys weren't throwing as hard as me. I feel like some of them didn't have as good as stuff as me, and I was just kind of wondering what the difference was. And I just kind of came to the conclusion that I needed another pitch. So I developed the two seam sinker thing that I throw now, and I think that kind of changed everything. It helped me be more aggressive in the zone, and get a little bit more contact and go deeper into games.
Did you have to do that on your own? Or was there a coach, pitching coach, somebody that helped you develop that over there?
I think the idea of it was kind of on my own, but they have all the analytics and stuff over there also to kind of help me work on it and get the shapes that I wanted.
What are you going to miss the most about Japan? What are you going to, because players always come over and it's like, obviously you got a 2-year big league deal. That's cool. You're back in the States. It's cooler. But what are you going to miss the most about your time there that if you had gone back, you're like, yeah, this is nice?
Probably the fans. I mean, every single game over there is packed out. They're doing all their their team chants, and they're playing their instruments out in the outfield. I think that experience of the fans was just incredible.
Then you signed with the White Sox. There's no fans at the White Sox. So sorry to be the first one. AJ invited you, or was the first one to welcome you, but there ain't no fans. So maybe you need to find a fan section. What would be your fan section called in Chicago?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think they got to come up with something. I feel like you can't create your own, right? I feel like
Some guys do.
Hold up.
K's
Hold
K's.
up. Hold up.
Club.
K's K's.
Yeah, like K Club, our director
Hold
came
up,
up with Special K.
Hold up.
What?
Listen, Anthony, as Strong Island natives and White Sox players, tell Kratz to fuck right off, okay? Because listen, we got us Strong Island people, we got to stick together, right? Us White Sox people, we got to stick together.
Yeah,
listen,
for sure.
when Kratz played in Philly, there wasn't no people cheering for him either, okay? So he can fuck right off. Now,
what? The stadium was packed.
I was there in 2015. There wasn't a fucking person in the stands in Philly.
I wasn't
okay?
there.
They were all there to they weren't there to watch Maikel Franco get hit, act like he got hit in the head when he didn't. Okay, let's be honest.
Stop.
Now,
stop.
Okay, so Anthony, you have a new teammate, Murakami. Did you face him in Japan? Give us White Sox fans a scouting report on what we can expect, because there's going to be fans there now, because you have Anthony Kay pitching every fifth day, and you have Murakami coming up there to hit bombs at first base.
Yeah, I mean, he's got probably the most power I've ever seen. I faced him a bunch my first year. I only got to face him one time this year because he had a injury. But I mean, he's got so much power. Thankfully for me, I kept him in the yard a bunch, but he's still, I think, hit like 400 off of me with a bunch of walks. So I mean, I don't see, a lot of people obviously were skeptical about, what he can do in the big leagues, but I don't see why, his game won't translate to the big leagues.
Okay, who had the second most? You said he had the most power you've ever seen. So for people to like equate it to guys here in the big leagues, who had the second most power?
I mean, I didn't get to see any of Murakami's BP, but I'm assuming it's probably something similar. It could be something similar to like Vladdy. I mean, his power in Toronto was ridiculous to watch.
That's fair.
Anthony, why do you think teams weren't as interested in him as anticipated? Like, were you surprised when you saw the contract that he signed? I mean, many of the public guesses were 100 plus mil, and he's young, so he's going to play on a 2-year contract. Hopefully for White Sox fans, they keep him and extend him, but otherwise he hits free agency again, and you might see the dude hit 30, 40, 50 home runs. But I get it. There's swing and miss concerns. What do you think held teams back, and how do you think he's going to counter that? Like, what is he going to have to do to not just prove himself, but to make sure that he can handle big league pitching, which is different from pitching in the MPB?
Yeah, I think there were some concerns about him catching up to velo. I mean, I don't think he had any problems against me with that, so I don't see why it was a concern. But I mean, I also thought Imai was going to get a little bit more money too. So I think maybe there just weren't as many teams interested as they would have thought. But I mean, Yamamoto was special coming out. I think teams kind of, or people kind of just overvalued how much they were going to get just because they were kind of assuming something like Yamamoto would happen.
Yeah, well, what about the other guys that came over? Did you face them? Imai, you mentioned Imai, Okamoto for the Blue Jays. Did you face him? Did you see Imai pitch? Give us a scout, because we don't know much about him. You can watch tape, but you actually have been on the field in the stadium with him. Talk about these other guys that have come over.
Imai was on the other side of the league, so we only get to face those guys once. He pitched against us one time, and I think he struck out like 16. Oh. So, I mean, I obviously was super impressed with what he had. I mean, he's like anywhere from like 94, 96, can run it up to like 100 when he wants to. He's got like that backwards slider thing that some guys are starting to throw now. It's like a super unique pitch for him, and he had a lot of success with it in Japan. So I think he's gonna be really good over here also. And then Okamoto too. I mean, I feel like he's just like a more polished Murakami. Like, he's got a lot of power. He's just I feel like an older version of what you're gonna get from Murakami.
You're turning into our Japanese scout here. All right, all those guys. Okamoto, they came over. Imai came over. And your new teammate came over. Murakami came over. Who's the guy that impressed you the most over there that people are like, because as soon as these guys are done signing, their signing period's over, we kind of stop. But you play the entire season over there, and you're like, this guy's dangerous. That could bust onto the scene here.
I mean, Murakami, I think he played like only like 50 games this year and hit like 25 home runs. So, I mean, that stretch that he had this year was so impressive to watch. And I mean, he's not hitting any cheap ones either. We had kind of like a little bit of a dead ball over there, so he wasn't getting cheated on any of those home runs.
Anthony, I want to make sure our audience also knows how successful your run was in 2025. I have you as second best ERA among starting pitchers, 1.74 ERA, 155 innings, 22% K rate. I mean, you dominated out there. And there were multiple reports that teams in Japan did not want to see you leave. So how difficult was that part of it? I mean, there were reports that you had better money offers, but you wanted to get back to Major League Baseball. Can you take us through that decision process and how difficult it was to potentially turn down more money to return to the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Japan's great. My 2 years there were incredible, but at the end of the day, it's so far away. Just being away from my family for couple more years. I think, me and my wife had to have like a legit heart to heart and, kind of figure out like what we truly wanted. And I think, we wanted to, come back to the big leagues.
Why not? I mean, listen, it's got to be hard. I mean, I know people that have gone to Japan, and some people love it, some people hate it, the food, the culture. But at the end of the day, everybody seems to want to come back.
Yeah, if you're from here.
From here, especially, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I want to ask you, you mentioned the balls. You said they're dead, but they're also sticky, right? How come MLB hasn't figured out a way to make a little bit of a tackier ball and more dead or more alive, whatever you want to look at it. But how come MLB, you think, hasn't figured out a way to make a little bit of a sticky ball like they use in Japan?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they don't like rub up the balls or anything over there. They just take them out of the box and they're good to go. I think the balls are more consistent too over there. Some of these balls that you get over here, like you just throw out immediately because they're just different. I think over there, you just get it right out of the box and it's good to go.
Okay, so then when you go to Chicago, I don't know if you've met Rob Warren, the clubhouse guy, the home clubhouse guy yet. Just tell him to tell Joey Mack, who's the umpire guy, just when you're pitching, just do a little some for me here to help me a little bit, just tell Rob, help me out here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need any stick over there. I wouldn't hate a little extra help over here for sure.
I like it.
They took away the spider tax since you've been gone, but no, actually that was before. You were still able to use it. My thing is when you look at a guy like Cody Ponce, who came over from Korea. Korea's a worse league than Japan. When you see his contract and compare it to yours, is that tough? Is that something that you sit there and you go, how did he get that? How did I not? Should they be looking at results? Should they be looking at the metrics?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed with seeing what he got compared to what I got, but I mean, I guess, a lot of it is looking at the metrics and stuff. And, I think he, added like a mile an hour to his fastball or something, added a splitter. So, I mean, they obviously there was something that they liked and, super happy for him because, he also played in Japan. So I got to meet him a little bit when we played him and, good for him.
Yeah, and it seems like things are changing with how teams are judging players and their performances overseas. They're of course looking at stats, but I think Amai is probably the example here, just going back to him for a moment. Based on his success and even what his repertoire looks like from the eye test, we thought he was going to get, among almost everyone else, 100 mil plus. And yet teams, were kind of judging certain pitches and trying to put him through what they think will convert to the major leagues. Is that, I know you don't necessarily know a ton about that. That's not your job, but I'm sure that comes up in conversation, right? When you're talking to teams, hey, this is how we see this particular pitch playing back in MLB again.
Yeah, I feel like it was just super inconsistent with what, the teams were offering. Like, it was just different for every guy. I feel like there's no way to, like, compare each guy to, what their deals are. And for whatever reason, I guess, just different.
Yeah. My last one for you. I mean, you did spend some time or a decent amount of time in the Blue Jays organization. I believe you were in the Stroman deal back in the day with the Mets. What was it like back then? And did you follow their run at all? I know the time change usually makes it kind of difficult, but did you follow their run at all, being a part of that organization? You probably had some teammates from the minors that are on that team now that you were able to follow.
Yeah, I mean, in Japan they play pretty much every Dodgers game, so I was able to watch all those games. It was obviously there aren't too many guys that I overlapped with in the Blue Jays organization now, but obviously super happy for those guys to get to where they went, but unfortunately came up a little short. But it was fun to watch, and I was really happy for all the guys that I knew.
Well, Anthony, we're excited to see you back in Major League Baseball, and this guy will be watching every single pitch that you throw. I mean, he is obviously a pretty big deal out there, but he also doesn't really miss a pitch of White Sox ball. And I think you're more excited for this season than you've been the past
for a long
three,
time,
right?
Oh, well, for the last 3, obviously.
Yeah, last 5 maybe. So you've got this guy will be watching. So
plus, Long Island, we stick together. So
Yeah.
you don't know anything about
AJ
that.
was born in Long
there's not
Island.
many of
and
us,
spent
so
5 minutes
we
there.
got to stick
That's right.
together.
It's you,
What do you mean
Stephen
stop?
Matz. Stephen Matz, right? Matz is a Long Island
Yeah,
guy.
Matt,
You were in the org with
Penn
him, right?
Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and Stroman
Hoppy.
too. Hoppy.
Stroman.
Hoppy, that's right.
Pierzynski.
Joe
Not
Nathan.
Brzezinski.
Joe Nathan was a famous one.
Yeah. Just so you know, Anthony,
Not
because unless you're watching the show every day, AJ was born in Long Island, in the Hamptons, actually. He's a bougie
my bad.
Hamptons baby.
Sorry about it.
Yeah. And then when did you officially move out of Long Island?
We
What
don't
age?
talk about I'm not here to talk about
Were
the
you
past,
even one?
Scott. Not here to talk about the past, okay?
Were you
I'm here
even
to
one?
talk about- huh?
Were you even one? Did you
Oh,
start
I
a
was
year?
like 2 when I moved
2.
to Orlando.
Okay. So 2 years. 2 big years.
But it says
Yeah.
on my birth certificate, and
We'll
if,
still
when I
allow
would
it.
go up to bat, it would say where we're from. It would say Bridgehampton, New York. It didn't
Yeah.
say Orlando, Florida.
You're right.
So
There's not
Oh,
many
the
of us,
stories.
so we got to accept you.
that's right. I'm the second best person born in Bridgehampton. Player
Who's first?
Carl Yastrzemski.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty
Yeah, I
good.
think he's
Pretty good.
He's very good. And he probably spent more than 2 years there. is
Yeah,
my
he
guess.
did. No, he did.
That's fair.
100%.
Well, Anthony, it was fun talking to you. Welcome back to MLB, and we'll see you in spring training.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Appreciate you. That's Anthony Kay, new member of the Chicago White Sox. What's next?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. Well, the Dodgers don't get to have all the fun with the Japanese media and the fanfare. The White Sox will have fun, but the Blue Jays will also have a lot of fun with Kazuma Okamoto, a.k.a. Big Baby, a.k.a. Big Oak, or Kazu works fine too. Those are some of the nicknames that he threw out there. And he said his agent, Boris, came up
Can't
with
nickname
Big
yourself,
Oak.
kid. Big Oak, Little Oak.
I like Big
Baby.
Oak.
No. Can't nickname yourself.
He
You got-
didn't come up with Big Oak. Boris did.
Yeah, it's kind of like him doing it, though.
So the fans just have
Yeah,
to
it
organically
has to be organic.
bring it.
Can't just be like, Kratz just can't walk out there and be like, call me Special K.
What do you think of this?
Nope.
He said he put all 30 MLB logos in front of his daughter, and she pointed to the Blue Jays. And that, plus $60 million, is why he decided on the Blue Jays.
Duh. No, it's more than 60 million.
Yeah.
If his daughter would have picked the Pirates, but they didn't want him, you think he'd be like, I'm going to the Pirates. They only offered me.
They did want him, but probably for half the
Yeah,
price.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. So the Blue Jays now will have a Japanese player who was a star in the NPB, and apparently it was just flooded with Japanese media, tons of coverage of this press conference, and he put on a show, Kratz. It gets us into the bigger conversation of a pretty epic run for the Blue Jays right now in the offseason, and that could continue with their pursuit of someone like Kyle Tucker. But there was an article put out there by Rob Longley, who writes for the Toronto Sun, and within that he said the Blue Jays' postseason run was estimated to be worth $100 million to Rogers. They own the Blue Jays. $100 million.
It's
Very
Canada.
dominion-
It's not
That's
just
amazing.
It's not just Toronto. It's not just Toronto. It's Canada. Like when you're coming over from Japan, you can go to Vancouver. Vancouver's beautiful. Like everybody thinks Seattle, LA. You're going to West Coast, San Francisco, but there is a strong contingent that I think the Blue Jays saw in the playoffs, but you would not even be thinking back too far if you're like, oh, wow, they just realized this in the playoffs. They went hard after Ohtani. Did they ever have a chance? That's not to be discussed. Roki Sasaki, they went hard after him. They've known this for a while, and now they got to see it in the playoffs. Some people forget they did that advertising on the I think it was a mixed martial arts, or it could have been boxing ring in Japan that was on TV. Like Blue Jays logo was there. Good for them. Good for them. This is something that they're not afraid to take advantage of. And now they have a player who, is he a star? No, he's not Ohtani. No, he's not Yamamoto. he probably isn't even the level of stardom as Imai, but you know what? He's their guy. And it's going to bring so much. When you play, I'm sure AJ knows, he played with different Japanese players, but when you play with a Japanese player, it doesn't matter if he's not a star or not. I played with Akinori Iwamura, who was a Gold Glover over in Japan at the end of his career in Pittsburgh, and he had a contingent of a few reporters. The better the player, the more contingent of reporters. That means the more coverage for your team. Oh, yeah. And he's a good player, and the Blue Jays were on the cusp of winning the World Series last year. So it's a great move by them.
2013 to 2015, do you know who the most popular player on the Blue Jays was?
Munenori
Kawasaki.
The guy who had the funny interviews.
Yeah.
Monkey never cracked.
Yes.
Yep. Getting back to
by the way, people that have never been to Toronto,
mm-hmm.
like Kratz, you played there, so you understand this. I don't know if you've ever been there, Scott, but
many times.
It is an international city.
Melting pot.
It's not. It's not just.
It feels more like Europe than it does any city in the U.S.
It does. You're right.
I've been there many times and called games in that park.
Yes,
many
it
times.
is more of an internet. And then if you go to Vancouver, which I don't know if you guys have ever been to Vancouver, it is even more.
I haven't been to Vancouver.
It's even more because it's on the West Coast, so you're closer to Asia,
mm-hmm.
right? So you have a lot of
Montreal's very European feel
French.
Too. Yeah.
Yes, but Toronto, for an East Coast city, like that, is very international.
Mm-hmm.
And then before people say yes, of course it's international in Canada. I mean, not non-North American, right?
Agreed.
Like it feels like there are people from everywhere that descend upon Toronto.
Yeah, it's a really cool
so if you
city.
can tap into the Asian market, it's what we talked about with Jerry Reinsdorf a couple of days ago in the White Sox when they signed Murakami, right? It taps into this Japanese cultural thing about baseball that they have where they want to know everything about every player. And I played with Tadahito Iguchi when he came over. And I played with some other Japanese guys. I played with Yu Darvish when he was just coming over. Their following is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
They everything they do. They want to know how many swings they had in BP, how many bullpen pitches they threw, how many this they did, how many P's they took today. I mean, it's like how many hairs did they cut when they got a haircut? It's incredible. And it's actually a little bit insane sometimes.
To me, it's kind of like how the NFL is sometimes. Like some stupid story becomes a big thing, and you're like, why is this a thing? And it's just because it's the most popular sport in the country. So take that and plus it up because there's less competition for sports that they're interested in. I mean, baseball dominates in Japan. Back to Canada for a moment. It's not just the postseason ticket sales and the merch and season ticket sales for the next year, the whole deal. This article also talks about an enormous boost to Sportsnet. That's an all sports channel that battles with Bell Media owned TSN, right? Those are the big networks up in Canada. And they said, television in general, obviously in cable, has faced challenges and there are less subscribers. Many of them are on spots like YouTube with us. There's still plenty, but it's more of a battle, right? So the Blue Jays' success made making sure you have that channel a high priority. And Edward Rogers told the Financial Post, we've done very well at getting a lot of sports fans who may not have a traditional cable package. So keeping that audience growing is important. And we think Sportsnet's prospects are very strong. So they spoke about how it goes beyond just what you're seeing at the ballpark and making the playoffs and all of that. Like it's a huge TV business that people are signing up for to get subscriptions.
But they do spell Sports Center wrong.
With an R-E at the end?
Yeah. Which one is
they spell a lot of things wrong.
Offense with the C.
Isn't rumor R-U-M-O-U-R?
Yeah, there's some different spellings up there.
I respect all of it.
No, I do too. It's just
one of my best friends.
It's one of the weirdest things though when you go up there for the first time, like when you're a young player and you go to Toronto for the first time. Or even when I was in AAA, we did Calgary and Edmonton and Vancouver and some of the other places. Mm-hmm. And you go up there and you turn on TSN and it says Sports Center and it's spelled different. And you look at your roommate and you're like, wait, am I seeing things? Because you're at the time you're used to ESPN, right? And Sports Center. And like, oh, welcome to Sports Center on TSN. And you're like, wait, something's not right. It's just spelled wrong.
I love it.
No, it's great. I love Toronto. I do. I love going there. It was fun.
Really, really good
really
for
good
baseball
city.
To have the Blue Jays be so relevant right now.
Great.
They got to follow it up, but the front office and ownership is doing everything they can to say, damn, we made a ton of money $100 million plus, let's spend.
And
So-
the
It helps that
fans
the
should go.
Canadian dollar helps that the Canadian dollar's a little bit stronger too than it has been in the last few years. Just saying, it's a team that there's a lot of extra cash on the margins there. When the team, you get half your check in Canadian, half of it from, you get it all in US dollars, but part of it comes from Canadian dollars translated, and then part of it is the US dollar.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of math behind the scene that can make it either easier or more difficult. All right, let's get to another team in their division. BetMGM Futures regular season win totals. Hey, you can make some money if you've got an inclination of what you think is going to go down in an off season, right? If you're one of those people that think, say, the Yankees are going to do 2-3 more things this off season, then you might look at this win total and say, okay.
Under.
The number for the Yankees is 93.5. 110 to win a hundo.
Under.
Isn't the biggest reason for this the division as a whole? Even bigger than what you think the Yankees are going to do, right?
Yes.
Like, you need the Yankees to win 94 games to cash this if you're going with the over. But, I mean, the Red Sox look like they're going to be good. The Blue Jays look like they're going to be very
Orioles
good.
are
The Orioles
much
are going
improved.
to be much better.
And the Rays are the Rays.
And the Rays, I mean, maybe a drop under 500 projected for this year. Where's your easy wins? Not in that division. So, Kratz, are you taking the over or under? I'm under.
Under. I can't not take the under. You know how many teams outside of the American League East had more than that many wins? More than 93 wins. 2.
Why is it so high?
Because of the Yankees, they got to put a big number out in order to get people to bet on it.
Because it's the East. And they both now the Blue Jays and the Yankees both had 94 last year. It's just such a tough. I don't care who's made what moves. I don't care if you think the Yankees are still better than the Blue Jays. Like, they're just going to beat each other up. They're going to beat each other up more than any other division. And it's the best division in the American League. Nobody's going to really deny that. But to say 94 wins, to say the Yankees are going to have a better year than they did last year, why? Because Garrett Cole came back? Why? Because Cody Bellinger's going to sign back? Like, Trent Grisham's going to have a better year than he did last year. Jazz Chisholm's going to have a better year. Like, I just think it's going to be tougher. I think it's going to be tougher, and I think this is smashed for me. I'm smashing it today. Locking it in. Thanks, boys.
I'm with you. Lock that in. Doesn't mean that they'll have a bad year, but
No.
a very successful season might be 91 wins. That's a huge difference from 94 when you're looking for an edge, when you're looking for some value on something like this. So, yeah, it was
I think
surprising.
they're a 90-win team.
I agree. I think this would have
94 wins is a good year.
Yeah, I think this would have been more challenging if they put, like, to me, the correction
If
should
they
be
put it at
more
91, I'd
Yeah.
be like, ooh.
in that range. That's where it's like, I'm not touching that. But 93.5 looks like
Locked in.
value. Yeah.
Because we're talking
Even
about
for
a
as good
historic year. If they go 96 wins, if they go 96 wins in this season, to me, it would be a historic year for them. It would be like they are hitting on all cylinders. And people will say, well, that's just two wins different. That's a lot of freaking wins in a tough division. Not a tough American League, just a tough division.
And I'll add this. Sometimes it's worth seeing how the season starts and then finding value in the win total. I would not do that with the Yankees because a lot of their rotation is going to come back as the year goes on. The Yankees also are now second fiddle to the Dodgers in baseball in many ways, right? And it's a copycat league. I think they're going to try and take a page out of LA's book and be like, how can we be as stacked as possible for the playoffs? Obviously, you got to get there, but counting wins.
That's a tough division when you throw in the fact
Tough.
that the Orioles and Blue Jays are good. Because forever it was kind of Yankees, Red Sox. Then the Orioles, it's like one team would always have a run. The Blue Jays at times were good. The Orioles at times were good, right? But now you have 4 teams that are legitimately think they can win. And the Rays always think they can win.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look right now on paper, the 4 teams, Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles, Blue Jays are all stacked and ready to go.
At least,
So, and getting 4 teams from one division is next to impossible into
Yes.
the postseason.
there's going to be a really pissed off fan base.
Yes.
A really
Wait to
pissed
see.
off AL East fan base.
Wait till you see the Brewers number. Anyway, I won't ruin it for anybody.
Save it.
And the
We can do
Dodgers
it
number,
tomorrow.
it's so exciting. It's fun for me.
Yeah. Well, we've moved on to win totals, and we're excited for them. Okay, for now, you don't have baseball to bet on besides futures. So if you want to hit up the NBA, there's a NBA no sweat token that you can go grab within the BetMGM app. Get your stake back in bonus bets, up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Log in, grab that token, place the bet, attach the token to your bet slip. If the bet doesn't win, you get your stake back in bonus bets. Go check out the website or the app for more details. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hey, May Day is coming up in a few minutes on the FT Network. Welcome back, Trevor May, his first show of 2026. Topics include terrible contracts that we forgot about. I love those kinds of topics. Terrible contracts that we forgot about. There's a theme, as Anthony Rendon just was bought out. So we'll go into some other contracts. There's ones we remember. I mean, Steven Strasburg, some of the recent ones, but there's ones to go back on. Chris Davis. I don't know how far back he's going to go. Most of the real big ones have to be in the 2000s where the money's just enormous, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to be like, oh, remember in 1985 when this guy made $3 million? He was only worth 1.5. Like, you got to get the big money.
Chris Davis, obviously, is one people remember.
Yeah.
Strasburg.
Huge.
Rendon.
Yes. Chris Bryant.
So far.
Sure. There's more time left for him to show up. So anyway, check that out. And then also he's going to do a deep dive into the change to the minor league data. That is a sensitive topic with most people at this point. We already covered it. So if
Well,
you
it
want
takes
to
away
check that
advantages
out,
for teams.
it does a lot of things. And you should look up who is likely going to be in charge of that whole process. There's a company making a bid. And there's some family connections there. Let's just put it that way. Should I stop? Kratz hats. Distract
Don't
me.
get
So
people. There's 3 minutes left of the show. Don't get people mad.
it's not even a conspiracy theory, but go to whatever. So go to Eno Stars, go back to his retweets from like Christmas and check out what he put up there and have some fun with that.
Yeah. Rob Manfred's family is about to cash in on a. Anyway,
Bingo.
I had to wear my Padres spring training hat because me and Drew. I couldn't find my San Fran hat. Me and Drew played together in spring training. I got him off on the right foot. His only All-Star year. I said, Drew, you know what you need to do? You need to throw your curveball, and I'll catch it, and no one else will hit it. And then he made the All-Star team. So I'm pretty much pitcher whisperer.
He made a lot of money too. Drew signed that big contract with San Diego. Sounds like he owes you a steak dinner. I didn't even know that you guys were friends like that. But
it wasn't me. I had another story about Drew. We both had alopecia issues the same day, same time. But that's a little more behind the scenes.
a little more personal. How does that? Is that just a coincidence? It's not like I don't know much about
Just a
alopecia,
coincidence.
but yeah,
Just a
wow.
coincidence.
So you guys are alopecia buddies.
Yeah. And then he was an all-star, and I floundered.
So for the last 2 minutes of the show, Frankie behind the scenes just puts together super cool videos, and we throw them on social media, but we want to make sure that we show them on the show. And the fact that I just said that line about alopecia means it'll definitely be in the next out of context reel. But on our way out here, Frankie's going to show off his out of context reel. So enjoy that. And then we will see you on Thursday, tomorrow, for Matt Quatraro, manager of the Royals, Hunter Harvey, who is a new addition to the Cubs, and Todd Father will be on with us. AJ will be back with us on Friday. Watch this goofy stuff on the way out. See ya.
Do you sleep in both beds? Scott had his glow sticks and Molly.
If I want to come to the party, knock, knock, I'm here.
Nucleolus.
You were a stripper.
I like dinosaurs. I dance for money all the time.
I gotta trust Pickle.
You don't brush teeth in a studio.
I don't know anything about Pokemon.
Me and Scott are way bigger than AJ. I would touch my chest. A tiger that walks across the screen.
Let's not kill the kid.
You dribble in basketball?
You would go full tongue.
Wet, what's up, Wet? Not corn in my poo, I had poo in my corn. Somebody help me!
Disgusting to even wear socks to sleep.
Everyone has their hole.
Do you just think of your pinky being this little finger?
We know you love the cocks. Sorry, Toby McGuire. I don't speak Spanish.
You have incredible extension.
You can check your junk all you want.
Woo! Pickle!
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
What? You? Yeah. Streak! Hello!
What's up, dog?
Rebate time, rebate time, rebate time.
Right! Yeah!
I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Oh, we can't get the grass to grow.
Congratulations, Seaman.
I was in a diaper and had a binky in my mouth.
Hamsters aren't perfect.
Here we go, the time to come.
I don't know any math.
There was a cow in Argentina that farted.
Cockily or fancily?
Geez, I wonder what the iPad says.
Once that cheese touches your lips,
Retraction, right?
contraction.
Or contraction.
Contraction.
Yeah. Contraction. right.
Retraction.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, my stomach's rumbling.
I just got hit in the toe.
I'm gonna have to have extra makeup today.
I'm dead inside. Come and be my puppet.
Yeah, baby.
Look at my peacock feathers.
Needle was in the rear.
I took a green. Oh man, I gotta get on Adderall. That's like 6-7.
I'll wait till you get it in there.
Were you on Hee-Haw?
I'm shooting the people that I know.
Did you been gone?
Exactly.
I'm a Nepo baby and I'm
Yep.
proud of it.
You can never touch my Jason.
Me want honeycombs, me want honeycombs.
Mustard.
He's gonna be pooping his pants.
It's a lot of incest.